Long before Dracula's name spread fear across Europe, there was another, a name whispered only in fragments of forgotten stories, a boy taken from his village and left as a sacrifice to the mountain. His name was Sorin. He was only 10 years old when his fate was sealed. But that night, beneath the full moon, death did not come for him as it comes for other children. Something older than the mountains, hungrier than the grave. And when the villagers returned at dawn, they found the altar empty. Sorin was gone. What returned was no longer a boy, but the first vampire. In the heart of Romania, among the shadowed peaks of Carpathians, people lived in constant fear, not of invaders or armies, but of the unseen forces that haunted the night. They spoke of the strigoi, restless spirits that left their graves to torment the living, feeding on the blood of men, women, and children. For centuries, villages built their lives around these fears. Crosses were carved into doors, garlic hung from windows, and holy prayers whispered at dusk. But when these protections failed, when sickness spread or the dead refused to rest, the people turned to something far darker. Believed the mountain demanded a price, a sacrifice, and in their terror they obeyed. Each generation a life was offered beneath the full moon, left alone upon the rocks to satisfy the hunger of whatever ancient power lurked in the mist. It was a cruel bargain, but to the villager it was necessary. Better to lose one child than an entire village, better one death than many. And so, when the time came, the villagers gathered once again to choose. This time, the choice fell on a boy named Sorin. Sorin was just 10 years old when his name was spoken. To the villagers, he was not special, not chosen by prophecy or marked by destiny. He was just a boy, small, pale, with dark eyes and a quiet nature. He lived as all children did, chasing the goats through the fields, playing with wooden toys, laughing in the safety of his mother's arms. But innocence meant nothing when fear ruled. The village had decided Sorin was to be sacrificed. No one knew exactly why he was chosen. Some whispered it was because his family has suffered misfortune, a poor harvest, a sickly winter. Others claimed he has been born beneath a cursed star, destined for this fate from the beginning. But the truth was simpler and crueler. Someone had to be given, and this time it was him. His parents begged, they wept, but their voices were drowned in the silence of their neighbors. A village bound by fear does not hear the cries of a mother. They hear only the promise of survival. Sorin did not resist. Whether he understood what was happening, no one can say. Perhaps he thought it was only a ritual, a game. Perhaps he hoped he would return home. But the villagers knew otherwise. At night, when the torches were lit and the path to the mountain opened, Sorin walked at their center, a child small and fragile, carrying the weight of his people's terror. They say he never cried, not once, and that silence was more terrifying than any scream. The night of the sacrifice came quickly. The villagers gathered in silence, torches trembling in the wind, their faces pale with fear. At the center of the procession was Sorin, a 10-year-old boy walking with small steps up the mountain path. Each footstep echoed like a drumbeat of doom. The higher they climbed, the colder the air grew. Mist curled around their feet and the moon loomed large above them, watching like a single unblinking eye. Not a word was spoken, only the crackle of fire and the faint sound of the boy's breath filled the night. At last they reached the altar. A great stone slab, blackened by age, marked the place where countless offerings had been left before. Some said the rock itself drank the blood. Others swore they heard whisper in the wind each time a life was given, but no one dared to question its power. The villagers bound Sorin's hands with rope and laid him upon the stone. He did not fight, he did not weep. His eyes searched the sky, as if looking for an answer beyond the stars. His mother cried out once, but was pulled back into the crowd. The ritual had to be completed. One by one, the torches were lowered to the ground until only the moon lit the altar. The villagers turned away, their voices low in prayer, and then, as the last footsteps faded down the path, the boy was alone. Alone with the mountain, alone with the silence. They believed he will die before dawn, but the mountain had other plans. On the mountain, Sorin lay in silence. The night was cold, the wind sharp, the sky vast and empty above him. Hours passed, and still he did not cry. His breath grew shallow, his body weak, until it seemed certain the mountain will take him. Death did not come, something else did. The villagers would later whisper that the earth itself stirred beneath the stone, that the mist thickened, curling like fingers around the boy's body. They said the wind carried voices, ancient, hungry and cruel. And then Sorin's heart stopped. For a long moment there was nothing, no breath, no sound, only stillness. But then, impossibly, the heart beat again, slower, louder, not the beat of a child, but something unnatural, something eternal. The blood drained from his face, his small hands twitched, his eyes opened, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Whatever innocence had once lived within him was gone. In its place burned the hunger no child should ever feel. When dawn came, the villagers climbed the mountain to see what remained. They expected to find a lifeless body, cold and still, but the stone was empty. The ropes were torn apart, and dark stains marked the rock. Sorin was gone. And that very morning, as the first light touched the village below, screams rose through the air, doors splintered, shadows moved in silence, and the people realized the truth too late. The sacrifice had not appeased the mountain. It had created something else, the first vampire. The village woke the silence. At first, it seemed as though nothing had changed. The sun rose, smoke curled from chimneys, and the fields glistened with dew. But beneath the surface, unease lingered. The sacrifice was supposed to bring peace, yet the air felt heavy, as if the mountain had breathed something dark into the valley. At midday, the first disappearance was noticed. A shepherd boy, no older than Sorin, had gone missing while tending the goats. His mother found only his shoes, left in the grass. No tracks, no blood, just emptiness. That night, the truth revealed itself. A scream split the darkness, sharp, short, and silenced too quickly. Doors slammed, shutters closed, and villagers clutched crosses to their chests. Through the cracks of their homes, they swore they saw him, a small figure moving unnaturally fast between the shadows. His eyes glowed pale in the moonlight. When they found the body the next morning, the signs could not be denied. The skin was white as chalk, the lips tinged with blue, and upon the neck were 2 punctured wounds, clean and deep. The body was drained of life, as if the blood itself had been swallowed away. The whispers began at once. Strigoi, Nosferatu! the sacrifice had not to save them, he had cursed them. The boy they had given the mountain had returned, no longer human. And as night fell again, more screams echoed across the fields. Cows were found torn apart, their veins emptied. Dogs howled until their voices broke, and in the distance some claimed to see a child standing on the hill, watching the village with hunger. Sorin was no longer their son, no longer their neighbor. He had become something else, their first predator. The village had given Sorin to the mountain, and now the mountain had given something back. Night after night, more lives were claimed. First the weak and the wandering, then the strong who tried to resist. No home was safe, no prayer strong enough. The people locked their doors, nailed their shutters, and burned incense in the streets. They buried their dead with stakes through the hearts, terrified they'd doom might rise. And still, the killings did not stop. The strongest thing of all was the silence. Sorin did not howl like a wolf or roar like a beast. He came quietly in the shadows, sleeping through windows and over rooftops. Children said they felt cold hands brush their faces in the night. Parents swore they heard breathing in the corners of their rooms. But when they lit the lamps, nothing was there. Whispers spread faster than the killings. Some called him the child of the mountain. Others swore he had been taken by the devil himself. But all agreed on one thing. Sorin was no longer human. He was cursed, eternal, a thing that fed on the living. As the fear deepened, the villagers turned against each other. Neighbors accused neighbors of harboring evil. Families abandoned their homes and fled into the forests, hoping distance would protect them. But the shadow followed. Sorin was not bound to one place. His hunger carried him from house to house, field to field, until the entire valley lay in terror. Wherever he went, death walked with him. The boy they had sacrificed to save themselves had become their greatest nightmare, and his curse was only beginning to spread. Seasons passed, but Sorin did not change. Villagers aged, their hair turned grey, their faces lined with time. Yet the boy who had been left on the mountain remained the same, a child of 10 years, frozen in the moment of his death. At first, some believed it was a trick, that another child had been mistaken for him, or that the stories were nothing more than fear taken shape in the dark. But as years went by and Sorin's face never altered, doubt turned into dread. This was no child. This was something outside the order of life. Sorin himself began to understand. He did not grow taller. He did not grow older. Hunger was his only companion, gnawing at him day and night. No matter how much blood he took, it never left him satisfied. Each heartbeat he stole from the living was only borrowed, never his own. Some say he tried to end it, that he threw himself into rivers, that he lay beneath the soil, that he begged the sun to burn him. But nothing could undo what had been done on that mountain. His body will not wither, his soul will not leave. He was trapped in the shape of a boy, condemned to walk forever with the hunger of the grave. And so the legend grew. Sorin was no longer spoken as a sacrifice, nor even as a monster. He was remembered as a curse, a spirit of endless youth and endless thirst, a curse that could not be killed, a curse that could not die, the first vampire.